Hello and welcome to the very first Consoletronix Halloween special, where I'm going to be taking a look at some of the scariest video games. Let me take the mask off. I like to look my viewers in the eyes before I entertain them with some of the finest video games ever to grace the horror genre. And this is one of my personal favourites. Are you tired of the same old survival horror? If so, join me in indulging in some psychological terror with Forbidden Siren on the PlayStation 2. That is, if you dare.
Forbidden Siren, known in Japan simply as Siren, is a remarkable game. For those of you who over the years have become disillusioned or perhaps desensitized to all things horror and think you've experienced all this once exciting genre had to offer, then allow me to take you to a gaming landscape the likes of which will make you fall in love with horror games all over again. If you've played this game, then you know exactly what I'm trying to say. But if this game slipped under your radar, then prepare yourself for a game built from the ground up to disturb, disorientate, and bring true meaning to the term survival horror. Now, I've been banging on for years that the Japanese understand horror in a way that Western game developers and filmmakers could never truly comprehend. A masked killer brandishing a blunt object chasing teenagers through a log cabin isn't horror. Zombies have been done to death. Enough with the friggin' zombies already, people. Forbidden Siren doesn't use gimmicks or silly set pieces to scare. It leaves it up to your own imagination. The innovative use of sight jacking, that's the ability to see through other people's eyes like a psychic CCTV, is fiddly at first and seems tacked on, but before you know it, it's second nature and become an invaluable tool in your hopes for survival and the source of the siren of the title. That's constantly wailing in the background like someone clawing a blackboard, sending chills down your spine and heightening tension. So forget the Resident Evil and Silent Hills trying to recapture past glories, and instead dust off your PlayStation 2, stick a copy of this game in with the lights off, and keep telling yourself, it's only a game. Happy Halloween, folks. Brains.
What is that?
Brains.
Ow! Motherfucker bit me! Yes, hello, emergency services. Quick hypothetical question. What's the standard procedure for someone who's just been bitten by a ravenous zombie? What? First you decapitate them? Then you mutilate their body? Burn their remains? And scatter the ashes to the wind? Oh, no reason. Thank you. Okay, I don't know how much time I've got left, but before I go, I want to quickly do this review of Project Zero on the Xbox, and it better be quick, because I'm rapidly losing con.
In much the same way as Resident Evil was based on an old Famicom game entitled Sweet Home, but visually and stylistically took its inspiration from the movies of George A. Romero, I like to think that Project Zero, very much based on Resident Evil, took its visuals and pacing from the new wave of Asian horror movies that started in the late 90s and into the 2000s. Project Zero, aka Fatal Frame, is an old-fashioned type of game, taking place in a rundown haunted house. Your only means of defense? A spiritual camera that lets you pick up or photograph images of the dead. Kind of like that scene in Ghostbusters, wasn't it? Yes, folks, this is one of the many fantastically put together scenes you'll see. Here is actually an action scene, ladies and gentlemen. You don't just take pictures of the ghosts, you can actually inflict damage upon them. Now, like I said, this game reminds me a lot of many a great Asian horror movie of recent years, like The Ring, Phone, R-Point. The list is endless. And if you're interested in finding a bit more about any of these Asian horror movies, well, I will be reviewing many of them on my second channel, Video Holocaust, so have a pop along and why not subscribe while you're there? Yeah, blatant plug, what are you going to do about it? But now we come, taking control of the main character of the game, in search of a missing brother who you saw a little earlier. Now, not as many people as you would think have actually heard of this game, despite the fact that it received the sequel treatment more than once and is available on both the Xbox and PS2. But after a fright this Halloween, I highly recommend checking out this underrated classic, Project Zero. Hugely entertaining and full of jump scares. Top stuff.
Oh, you're back, and I trust you enjoyed that last clip, but as usual, I've saved the best to last with a true horror classic. See if you can guess what it is.
It's got a house. It's got splatter. Yes, folks, we're looking at Splatterhouse, one of the greatest arcade games of all time on the greatest console of all time, the PC Engine. That's right, folks, I went out and got myself a copy, and this is my first time playing it. But luckily, being addicted to gameplay videos as I am, I've picked up a few tips. Here's the easiest way of beating the first level boss. Now, for anyone looking to start collecting for the PC Engine, these kind of titles, Splatterhouse, Rondo of Blood, many others, these will set you back a pretty penny. So I wouldn't begrudge anyone going down the emulation route, but for collectors like myself, we simply have to have our pristine copies. But what about the game itself? Well, for anyone who's played Splatterhouse 2 on the Mega Drive, it's very, very similar. You walk, you punch, you jump, And that's it. And this might sound like I'm slagging the game off, but no way am I. I don't know what Namco did, what magic they worked, but this game is hugely playable. And if you're an old school horror fan like myself, trust me, you're gonna get a lot of pleasure playing this game. Lots of references to old horror movies, lots of varied levels, interesting boss fights, and of course the all important blood and gore. And it's with this masterpiece of the macabre we come to the end of this Halloween special. So to all of you who've made it this far, I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, and as usual, I'll have some more videos up very soon. My name's Gray. This is the Consoletronix Halloween Special 2013. So all that's left is for me to say thanks for watching and have a happy Halloween.